Good morning. I want to thank all of you for coming. We're so excited today to be here with the Food Network and with Alton Brown, celebrating an early Thanksgiving and talking about some of what we've been introducing on iGoogle in terms of our food themes and food gadgets. And I just wanted to offer a little bit of a reflection on the web and how it's affected cooking, and then I'll turn over the show to Alton. If you think about what the web has done in terms of cooking, it really has changed things. As recently as 10 years ago, if you think about how you would exchange recipes, they would have been flour-covered recipe cards that looked like this, or you begging your grandmother for that secret recipe. And now, today, the web helps us find and organize recipes and explore food in entirely new ways. One thing that we see is we can tell that people have moved their food interests online. This is the Google Trends graph for recipes, and you can see that it's been increasing over time, and in fact we get a big seasonal spike every year around Thanksgiving and Christmas as people find holiday recipes for entertaining. We also, as you can see, this is the Search for Food Network, our partner today. We've been getting more and more queries over time as people turn to the web more frequently to find what they're looking for in terms of what to cook and what to be inspired by in terms of food. So we're really excited about this overall trend. And we've built different features into the search engine to try and make cooking easier. So even things like our calculator and conversion tool that we have in the search engine. So for example, if you want to convert from metric or from one measurement to another, you can type things like 5 teaspoons and find out how many milliliters that is. Or you can find out how many tablespoons are in a cup by simply typing these things into Google and getting the conversions on the top of the page. Google image search, we have found, has been a great inspiration for people, especially as they entertain. So this is an example search for Thanksgiving table settings. If you're looking at how should you entertain, how should you set up a table, how to inspire your family and friends that you're hosting, we've got a great set of images, and Google image search is a great tool for that. We also have Google Book Search, which has tons of cookbooks, including dozens of cookbooks from our partner today, the Food Network. So we're really excited about the fact that people can search not only for web pages, but also books online to help them find recipes. And of course, YouTube, because of the demonstration nature, is just a really, really great opportunity for people to log on, find videos, and see demonstrations of how to make some of their favorite dishes. So without further ado, I wanted to turn to the iGoogle announcements for today because they're very, very exciting. As you know, we've been having a series of artist themes where we release a set of themes each quarter that focus on different artists and designers. And this quarter, we're focused on art, food as art. And so all of the themes are just unbelievably beautiful and scrumptious pictures of food and things that are food inspired. And we also have an amazing set of gadgets. So today we'll be introducing a set of food-inspired gadgets that include gadgets from a company called Foodsy, which allows you to sell your food and baked goods online, basically setting up your own boutique bake shop. Also Urban Spoon, which helps you find and experience new restaurants in your community. There's also Supercook, where you can introduce what ingredients you have in your fridge, and it finds recipes that you can make with those ingredients, basically helping you get to use all of the different elements of your refrigerator. And we have great perspectives also in the gadgets from Rachel Ray, Martha Stewart, the Food Network, Epicurious, talking about some of the favorite things, some of the new trends in food, all of these really wonderful food gadgets to really help enrich your iGoogle homepage. And then, of course, we have the themes, and the themes are just mouth-wateringly beautiful. So, of course, we have themes from the Food Network. The Food Network provides food programming into more than 90 million homes, and they have set up 2 different themes, one which is a savory theme for holiday cooking, so you can see all of the beautiful spreads of the holiday food that they have on their site and on their television programs. And one of my favorite themes, which is the 12 days of cookies, so you can see all the Christmas cookies and see that they have recipes for and some of their favorite spreads of cookies, so really get into that holiday spirit. Paula Deen, the talk show host and author who's really focused on Southern comfort food, shows how she entertains for the holidays by both showing you her Thanksgiving spread, and she also has her holiday treats theme, where you can see some of the different creations she has, including her snowmen there on the top. And then there's this amazing food artwork. Carl Warner is known for making all of his art entirely out of food. So all of these pictures that you see there, they're all made out of food. Carl has a book coming out next year where he's going to talk about the inspiration behind his food-based art. We also have James Parker, who is the world's leading fruit and veggie sculptor. In fact, he's the reigning champion of the Fantasy Fruit Sculpture Program for the Food Network. And you can't even believe that these things were carved from simple fruits and vegetables. They're just so beautiful. And then, of course, we have different baked goods. So Crumb's Bake Shop, which now has 20 stores around the country, each of which has 50 different varieties of cupcakes each day. If you want to get your cupcake fix, you can load up the Crumbs theme. Ron Ben Israel, the king of cakes, voted best baker by Vogue magazine and frequent guest on Martha Stewart, Oprah, and David Letterman. He has his cakes here. Everything on Ron's cakes are edible. So the flowers, the stems, the ribbons are all entirely edible. So amazing, amazing art from Ron Ben Israel. And Emerald Lagasse, who really needs no introduction. Famous restaurateur, amazing personality, has inspired us with pictures of his restaurant, pictures behind the scenes from the kitchen, as well as pictures from his food. Wine Spectator, for the wine lovers out there, has shared with us the beautiful, beautiful pictures they've taken of vineyards from all over the world, just breathtaking landscapes of where the wine grapes are grown and produced. And we have Jamie Oliver, also known as the Naked Chef. He's provided us with a series of themes that are inspired for his good eating and healthy eating that he supports and promotes. Magnolia Bakery, the bakery that kicked off the cupcake craze, is here. They kicked off the craze with Sex and the City and SNL's Lazy Sunday skit. But if you can't get enough from the 12-day limit in the New York area, you can actually log on now and get Magnolia cupcakes right on your homepage. Kat Cora, the very first female Iron Chef, has provided us with beautiful pictures of her food creations to inspire your homepage. And Elaine Ducasse, the 3 Michelin star chef who now runs the Jules Verne restaurant in the Eiffel Tower, is here with pictures of the amazing restaurant atmospheres that he's created, as well as his food creations. Clara Robinson is known for cooking things with just 5 simple ingredients. And so she has laid out her themes. You can see them here. She's laid them out in this really cool way where you can actually see the 5 ingredients numbered and then see the dish that she made with those 5 simple things. Sylvia Weinstock, the reigning queen of cakes, who has been deemed by InStyle to be the diva of cakes, shows many of her amazing cake creations on her themes. Gary Danko, winner of the 2000 James Beard Award for Best New Restaurant and local restaurant here in San Francisco, has joined our themes collection with pictures of his restaurant and his food. We also have Michael Mina, who now owns 17 different restaurants and has 3 Michelin stars to his name, has shown us pictures of his creation. And then we have the international component. Peter Gordon is a popular restaurateur in both the UK and in New Zealand, and he's joined to show us his recipes and some of his favorite presentations of food. We also have Ian Huey Hewitson, one of the most famous chefs and most famous food personalities in Australia, here showing the amazing things you can create with the exotic ingredients from Australia. And Martin Yan from Yan Can Cook. Martin is a Chinese-born American who hosts the show Yan Can Cook and has written over 24 cookbooks. He shows you here his Asian-inspired his Asian-inspired recipes. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Alton Brown, who is the creator of Good Eats. He also is the host of the miniseries Feasting on Asphalt and Feasting on Waves, and is the main commentator on Iron Chef America. And you can see his amazing kitchen, his personality conveyed through the themes, and the amazing food that he creates. And we're really, really excited to have Alton here with us today. I'd like to welcome him to the stage. He's going to give us a talk around the 10 things he's found to be true about foods. Welcome, Alton.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you. I am so glad to be able to have this many people skip work while being at work. So everybody's going to get paid. So if there are any particular, if I can help you miss an important meeting by talking longer, I'm going to do that. We'll just, every 15 minutes or so, I'll ask who wants to stay longer until you miss that critical deadline that you were supposed to do. It's a pleasure to be here. My first time. This is almost as big as Good Eats Industries. I think we've got 3 more buildings than you have, but that's okay. You're a growing company. You're young. You got time to catch up. We've only got 60 buildings. You probably have more than that. Anyway, you just don't know it yet. You're growing them. I know that I'm here primarily to talk about Thanksgiving because this relationship that we have with you guys, the reason that I'm here is because of search hits and whatnot that have come up because of me and Thanksgiving and Food Network and Thanksgiving. So I thought, well, if I'm going to come do a talk here, why not come with questions that have come to me via email, not just email, but all of them that have come through your email to me during the last few months. And we get pummeled with emails before the holiday season, specifically Thanksgiving. So I decided to come in and do a little talk based on answering some of the questions that I've gotten just in the last couple of weeks. And using only images that, well, I took a few of these at home. Some came from the shows, but the rest I ripped off directly from image search on Google. So I hope that's okay. Which I don't feel really bad about coming here. I might apologize for that in a lot of places, but not here. I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm going to go over these questions and answer them, and then hopefully we've got microphones set up so that we can do some of your questions. I also want to say that at any given time, if you want to stand up and holler out a question, go ahead. Just be sure to set down your computer first, because I know at least 3/4 of you have your laptops running. Why? I'm not real sure. It kind of worries me. Anyway, it's like I've never come to a place where so many people are watching TV in their lap at the same time. So, this is right. This actually came in just 3 days ago. Question. In our house, Romancing the Bird was the first 1-hour special that we did 10 years ago, 11 years, 10 years ago on Good Eats, our first big Thanksgiving show. Still comes on now, I'm happy to say. Matter of fact, most of the images you saw up here a few minutes ago were from that. And the reason you can tell is I had a lot more hair. Matter of fact, twice as much hair as I have now. In our house, Romancing the Bird is a classic. Like a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. To what do you attribute its considerable success? Well, I hadn't really thought about it because I haven't looked at the show in a lot of years, so I decided to go back and I pulled some of the things, some frames from this particular special that I think pretty much give a good explanation for why this show is so gosh darn popular. 1, drool-inducing poultry. This is of course, this is low res. We were analog back then, so it looks really crappy because it's, DV, so drool-inducing poultry would be one. Cooking blind. How many shows that you know of where you actually get to see entire cooking sequences done while blindfolded? You just don't typically see that because when you're blind and you cook, you typically get burned and cut yourself a great deal. So we were the first to break out and do cooking blind. Snappy graphics. We've always been big on high-end technical graphics. Only the really wide markers on cardboard that give you a headache, but also give you a little rush at the same time. So we use those. This next one, though, I'm thinking has a lot more to do with it. Custom props. The front of the. I don't know how many of you have seen this show. Probably a couple of you. The cool ones, yeah. This was a turkey we made for the front of a turkey delivery van, made almost completely out of toilet parts. You probably didn't want to know that. But the really important thing is that we were absolutely the first show to feature cross-dressing transvestites and a food show, and I think that we still reign as being the only show to do that. So we've got that going for us. Next question, and these are real. So any issues with grammar, don't blame me. Alton, I want to try to do 3 things this Thanksgiving: deep fry a turkey, not burn down the house, and end up with good eats. I know you can help me. Will you please? Sure. I'm more than happy to do that. First step, of course, is that brining is always in fashion. How many folks here have actually brined a turkey at some point? Again, the cool ones, notice. The ones that had watched the show. And did anybody have a brined turkey not turn out to be the best turkey they ever had? Okay, good, because I would have security take you out. That's good. I like that. Okay, so obviously, if you're going to fry a bird, whether you're going to roast a bird or fry a bird, brine first. Okay, that's your best flavor bet, because brining increases the moisture level inside the bird, seasons the inside of the bird, and also makes slight changes to the molecular structure so that when you cook it, you don't lose as much moisture when you cook it, so that even if you do overcook it, you tend to hold on to more moisture than if you didn't brine. Got it? Good. Okay, next thing. You use a turkey derrick, of course. This from our Fry Turkey Fry show. This device allows you to raise and lower the turkey into the hot vat of oil in complete safety by maintaining a distance over there. And of course, the flashing danger beacon on top, an important accessory. I'm thinking of selling these in a kit. Maybe just through Google. We can talk maybe about that. You know, once you guys are a bigger company. In the end, we do want to avoid the fire. And the turkey derrick helps you to avoid that. I don't know how many of you guys saw this, but all we did was drop a frozen turkey into a pot of 400-degree oil. And this is what happens. And I know what you're thinking. Looks fun. And I don't blame you for that, because I'll tell you, it is. It is fun. But the cleanup stinks, okay? So if you are going to blow up a turkey, I suggest doing it in a neighbor's yard when they're not home. And it makes interesting patterns in the grass. So you might want to try that. And of course, you get good eats if you fry your turkey. I don't eat the food on the show very often, but that one I did. So obviously it was pretty good. So if you fry your turkey, you get good eats. Question. Oh, this came last week. I remember this. My wife and I love Thanksgiving, but we really don't like turkey. What should we serve? Try unicorn, you pinko commie. Now, I know here in California you're not supposed to offend pinko commies, but where I come from in Georgia, if you don't eat turkey on Thanksgiving, you're a unicorn chump and pinko commie, and that's all there is to it. However, if, heaven forbid, some turkey allergy prevents you from enjoying turkey on Thanksgiving, I would say, well, duck tastes pretty good too. And in fact, we have a 1-hour Christmas special coming out soon. It's not on YouTube yet because it hasn't come on so that somebody could steal it and put it there. But that'll happen soon enough, and you'll be able to see our plan for the perfect roast duck. But as it is now, nobody's seen it. It'll be on Food Network. Somebody's going to have to watch TV, packed full of advertisements. All right. This, honest to God, you're going to think that I made this up, okay? This question came in sometime within the last month, okay? Deep breath. Now, I was wondering about basting a turkey. Yes, opening the oven door multiple times is bad since it lowers the heat, dries out the meat, etc., and brining produces a pretty succulent piece of fowl. But I was wondering if one could say, you know, make a contraption, if you might, that would be like a hose, a small one, say as small as the cord on a probe thermometer, something heat-proof that would lay idly by the oven. Would that still be basting? Would it be possible? I'm really hoping that he would. And I'm only saying this because clearly this person, and this came to us from a YouTube fan, is in desperate need of help. And under most circumstances, I would ignore this kind of question because they want me to invent a small hose for basting a turkey through a closed oven door, which is wrong in more ways than I have time really to go over with you guys. And so I just wanted to reach out to that person through this powerful whole internet thing that you guys have going and say, please, go back on the meds. Besides, you have to remember that basting turkey skin is silly. Why? Why is basting a turkey silly? Come on, somebody. You're smart. Somebody? What?
Crisp skin.
Crisp skin. Why would basting make crisp skin? What's baste made out of? Why would that make anything crisp? Have you ever put milk on cornflakes, sir? Crisper? Not crisper. Look, turkey skin is like a raincoat. Here being worn by a young Humphrey Bogart. No turkey hem, but the whole point is that skin is there to keep moisture out. Putting moisture on it won't do anything, okay? If you are addicted to crispy skin, and how many of you like your turkey with crispy skin? Of course you do. Raise your hand, cool people. It's like, the only best way, because I'm sure someone else will come up with it, to ensure that your turkey has crisp skin is that after you brine, or if you decide not to brine, because it's a free country, don't brine, just uncover the thing and leave it in the refrigerator for 3 days, okay? Dry skin will be crisp skin. Wet skin won't. Basting wet, right, doesn't make any sense. So don't bother basting because it won't lead, it'll make a flavorful skin, but it'll make a soggy skin. And who likes soggy skin? All right, just checking. Just checking. Question. I just read an article about the 3 biggest mistakes, again, I didn't write this, to make on Turkey Day, and buying a frozen bird was one on the list. The article claims fresh tastes better. Is that true? I know you've talked about fresh being perceived as better than frozen with seafood. Does the same hold true for fowl? This is important, and it's especially important for people who live in California to understand. Raw doesn't mean fresh. Now, about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, California chefs started this move towards fresh ingredients. Fresh, fresh, fresh. Everything had to be fresh, fresh all the time. As a matter of fact, you know, Chez Panisse, which is just up the road a little bit of the ways, was one of the restaurants that really started this big movement. And that's great, because you live in California. Everything grows here. You've got all the food. Oh, aren't you proud? I live in Georgia. We have sweet potatoes, onions, and peanuts. That's it. So it's kind of tough. But what you have to realize in these days is that just because something is raw does not mean it is fresh. Fresh should be defined as the condition most like when it was alive. And anybody who's watched at least one science fiction movie knows that's cryogenically frozen, is it not? Right? So you're actually better off with frozen unless you really live near a turkey farm. Now, if you live near a turkey farm, you can go say, yeah, that one. Yeah, I want that. Oh, okay, yeah, now put it in the trunk. You know, if you can, you know, go harvest a turkey or have it from right up the road, then fresh is better. Most Americans will be better served by a frozen bird because it goes through less damage during shipping, okay? Will it always taste better? Huh? If it's fresh, as in from the next, you know, house over, then yeah, that's going to be a better tasting bird. But if it had to be shipped from 5, 6, 7, 8, 15 states away, then most likely you're going to be better off with a frozen bird because they are actually watched over more closely and they suffer less in the way of temperature crimes, so to speak. Now, I'm sure some of the chefs are going to object, but I get to talk and they don't, so. Remember, frozen is sometimes fresher than raw. Okay, not always, but often. It's certainly true of fish and often true of poultry. All right, question. I was wondering what is the best way to convince my mother to brine our turkey this year. She absolutely refuses to break tradition and try it. Also, is stuffing really evil? These are good questions because I get a lot of my mother-in-law won't kind of questions, which really kind of, or my mother won't. But you can always just disown them, of course. I would say have your mother look at this image, this incredibly low-res analog image. Does her turkey look that juicy and succulent? I think not. I think she probably needs to look at this picture for a while and think about whether she wants her turkey to look that way. As for the stuffing issue, and I thought long and hard about this because I've had to defend my stance about stuffing being evil. Stuffing being evil, of course, because it slows down the cooking of the bird and you've got to spend more time cooking the stuffing than the bird. Not a good thing. But I wanted some empirical absolute proof, and I started to do some research via Google image, I might add. That's a nice little function you guys have. And I came across, of course, William Blake's famous painting of Satan pouring the plagues upon Job. I know a lot of you had this as a poster in college, may still have it. Here we have Blake's interpretation of, you know, you'd think Satan could get some clothes, but, you know, he doesn't. And he's dumping out plagues upon Job. Those of you a fan of the Old Testament will certainly recognize this. Well, I did a little background reading in some of the letters that Blake did. And actually, the plagues being poured out, stuffing. Stuffing was being poured out by Satan onto Job. And so it's easy to work out this model, which is Satan is evil, Satan likes stuffing, stuffing is evil. I don't think you really have to go much further than that. This is infallible logic. Simple as that. Question. AB, what is the, and this is a real word, mostest. What's the mostest, absolutist gotta-have tool for Thanksgiving? All right. Take a look at a few images. I want you to take a look at these because they have a commonality that I believe is critically important to the Thanksgiving mission. All right. Here's an image. This is supposedly of the first Thanksgiving. Notice the Indians don't have any chairs. And that guy's still wearing a ruffle, and that's been out of fashion for at least 100 years. And that guy's got a sword. And, okay, so we got it. So that's kind of a Jamestown thing. So everybody's memorized that picture. Good. Here's another one. You guys had this on your Google image. Scary zombie family, Thanksgiving, enter. That's the first thing that came up. Also came up under fake eyebrows and a few other things. Hey, take a look at that. Take a look at that. And if that's your family, I'm sorry. But it was on the internet, so it must be perfectly okay to use. Here's another one. Here's a family shot from what appears to be the late 50s, maybe. Take a good look at that. Okay, enough of that. And here, this is one from around 1941. This is a Thanksgiving feast, 1941. So what's common? What's the one thing that's going on in all of these that's critically important to the Thanksgiving mission? We'll take another look. Table. Not nearly enough chairs, but there's a table. Table. And really spooky-looking mother. Table. And perhaps married cousins. Table, sort of, kind of out of a lean-to kind of situation. But the thing here is that people, and it's so easy to forget this in a day and age where we trade recipes like currency, where we objectified food so often, is that we forget that what actually makes Thanksgiving, what actually makes it really worth having and worth celebrating, is that we all sit down, friends and family sit down at a table and share food together. Okay, now I know that a lot of you here, the part of the Google food mission is this whole idea of eating with strangers, of sitting down and talking, of eating and having meetings. Food brings people together, but if there aren't people and if there's not a place for them, then food really can't do its magic. It's just another meal, okay? It's just another pile of groceries, okay? So this Thanksgiving, when you get together, think about who do I want to sit down at a table with. Now, in your case, it might be a very small table, because you don't know that many people. But, or me, I just don't like people. That's a problem. But I do like, well, never mind. So think about that. The table's the most important part of the Thanksgiving experience. All right, question. Thanksgiving used to be a lot better than it is now. What's missing from today's celebrations? I thought this is an interesting philosophical question to be sending to a cook, but I took it anyway. And I was thinking, well, what we're missing is the good old days when giant turkeys pulled carts bearing huge pumpkins with scary kids with knives and forks. This apparently is the way it used to be. I found this doing a historical search of a Google image, so I thought, wow, no wonder it used to be so much fun. We had these... And then I come here and I see a skeleton of this very turkey right outside the door. Here's what's missing. Norman Rockwell. Thanksgiving used to actually be about giving thanks to something or somebody, and I think that we've kind of forgotten about that. Thanksgiving, thanksgiving. Somebody put that food there. You might think as you sit down to eat about where that might have come from and who put it there, whether you believe it to be terrestrial or non-terrestrial hands. But I do think that that is the big thing that is missing, is being grateful. And of course, you should be thankful to Food Network, if no one else. Because odds are your recipe came from there, didn't it? Via Google search, of course, I'm certain. Question, we know you're holding out on a few Thanksgiving survival secrets. Confess, and you'll feel better. It's like the Inquisition. Nobody expects to. No, sorry. I thought about this, and I thought about my own food life at home, and what are some things that actually help me get by? Because Thanksgiving can be such a crazy time, and people are bringing it. Those of you that have Thanksgiving, do you make people bring food? When did we get away from that? It's like somewhere along the line, it was kind of a Martha Stewart thing of, I'm going to so impress you. I don't know. You don't need to bring anything. I raised the turkey from an egg. I crocheted a runner for the table, and I made water. I don't know about you. I don't really need to impress anybody. I don't want to have to do all the work. So the rule at my house is if you're coming, you're bringing. And none of this like, I got some potato chips. Poof. We don't have time for that. So, but I do have one thing. Bubble wrap. You're all quiet because it's like, that didn't come off of image search. No, I took it. I took this picture with my very own camera. What can bubble wrap do for you and your Thanksgiving? Well, let me tell you. If you put something in it that you want to keep hot, like say your daughter's Monty Python Killer Bunny, or a turkey, or a casserole, or some dinner rolls, or what else might we serve hot during the holiday? Any number of things. When you don't have room in the oven and you don't have hot drawers and you're out of cooler space, you wrap it up in bubble wrap and it stays hot for hours. It's a miracle. I'm feeling out because I'm looking for investors for my new brand of food-safe bubble wrap. So I was trying to see how that would play here in the room. You like the bunny picture, though. Maybe I should go back to the bunny. You like the bunny. What are you having for Thanksgiving this year? This is what I'm having for Thanksgiving this year. A couple of years ago, we did a show about cranberries. Anybody see our cranberry show? We made our own cranberry sauce from scratch, which is really easy to do. Well, last year I had some left over. And it's really amazing because one of the great things about cranberry is it gels on its own. You can make a gelatin-like product, cranberry sauce, like in a can, which is the way we actually did it. You can do that without any gelatin because the cranberries will actually do it themselves. So if you take some of that, a nice big spoonful of this stuff, and you put it inside a cocktail shaker, regular old cocktail shaker. You put in some ice, and then about 4 fingers of bourbon, and shake it up. You'll have one of these. A cranberry julep, I like to call it, although there's nothing in it but cranberry sauce and bourbon. I haven't met your family, but I know mine. I know who's coming through the door in another hour, and I need to not have the shakes when they get there. So when Mom calls and says, I'm just a few miles away, is there anything I can pick up at the grocery store since you can't cook? I'll be okay. Here's my meal. This year, all from Good Eats, I'm serving my fried turkey, the Good Eats fried turkey, the aforementioned cranberry sauce, stuffing, which I haven't cooked inside the bird, but inside muffin tins, cleverly, and garlicky greens. There's the entire meal, and you know what? I like the prison plate. It gives it that rustic feel, and you know what? When you're feeding a bunch of people, because they stack up and nest, they won't slide off the counter, which I think is nice, and the neighbors don't think it's funny that you're cleaning them off with the garden hose. So. Dessert will, of course, be sweet potato waffles, stacked up with maple whipped cream and candied cranberries. That's what we're having. Of course, this could also be for breakfast. Question: if there really was a secret to a perfect Thanksgiving and you knew what it was, would you tell us? Yes. There is, and somebody really did send this. It was a kid, in fact, an 11-year-old. There is actually a secret to Thanksgiving, the holidays, and just about any other holiday that has food related. And that, of course, is owning a copy of Good Eats, The Early Years. Not off of image search, by the way. I took that. That's why it's bad and out of focus. So there are my 11 questions that I wanted to answer for the Thanksgiving holiday. Now I want to take time for your questions and comments. We have microphones set up here and here. I hope that you might be brave enough to come do that. And I'm sorry, you're pointing at What? Oh, Maria. Oh, I'm sorry. The boss lady has questions. Okay. She had, I couldn't believe I was like grabbing my wife's like, she's got a graph. She had a graph. You had like several graphs, didn't you? I didn't have a graph.
We're big on graphs here. We're also big on questions. So I have questions from Googlers. Yeah, have a seat.
So, okay.
And so feel free for the people in the audience. We do have mics, so go ahead. We would like to take some live questions.
Ride your segue on up to the mic.
But we do have the questions that all of you have been submitting through the Dory page for the last few days. We have a system where people can submit questions, and we've got a big line of questions for you.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first question is...
I haven't seen these, by the way. All right.
I haven't either. How much of the real Alton Brown do we see on Good Eats, Iron Chef America, and the next Iron Chef? What is your favorite gig, and why?
First off, that's pretty much all me because I don't know how to be anybody else. I'm not a very good actor, so that's pretty much just me. Which is the best gig? Well, Good Eats is my precious snowflake, you know. It's Good Eats is my baby. We invented that. So, you know, Good Eats is the favorite gig because, you know, it's my precious snowflake. But I like Iron Chef America a lot because it's a really great education. And I get to meet and hang out with people that cook way better than I do, which is always nice.
Another question. What is your earliest memory of food?
Okay, I have this. No, honest to gosh, I do have this. And it was the first, it was also, by the way, synonymous, or it happened in parallel with my understanding that life will betray you. I was, I think 4. Maybe it was 3. It was 3. And when I was 3, I lived in a small town in Southern California called Los Angeles, where I was born. And Saturday morning, I always had a bowl of Captain Crunch cereal, which I noticed I didn't see in any of the kitchens around here. Captain Crunch cereal. And one day I got up early and thought, well, I'll make my own Captain Crunch cereal. I won't wait for my mom. I know how to do this. And so I went out, and that's back. And this will shock most of you. There was a time when a man in a uniform with a truck came, and he brought bottles of milk to your house. And he brought the bottles of milk to the house, and I went and I got one of these bottles, and I ratcheted off the little foil top, and I poured it all over my cereal, and I sat down, and I turned on cartoons, and I took a big mouthful of Captain Crunch cereal. And I should have known that the fact that the color of the lid was different on the milk, blue is milk. Green is buttermilk. And I just glanced over the details. It's one of the problems that I have in life in general. Yeah, buttermilk. And let me tell you, buttermilk and Captain Crunch is the first time that I realized life is out to get me. My first actual food memory.
Okay, we have lots of questions, so let's go ahead and take some live from the audience.
That gives me an excuse to not sit. Go ahead, sir.
Actually, I don't have a question. I just have a comment. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for making me a much better cook, and thank you for coming here today.
Well, you're welcome. Are you, in fact, sir, a better cook? You're a better cook.
I'm a much better cook, thanks to you.
Do you practice often?
As often as I can.
Good.
On time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
My wife has made some of the most delicious brined turkeys the last few years, but this year she wants to experiment with a method that's sometimes called the dry brine.
Yes,
or the
where it's a cured, it's a semi-cured turkey where instead of using a water-based brine, you just use salt.
Yes.
And then let it dry out.
Yes, I'm afraid.
Don't be afraid. It's a good method. It can make a very flavorful turkey, but she's going to have to be much more careful about hitting the proper thermal window during cooking. It is not going to be as forgiving a method, but it will be more turkey-like in flavor. So go for it. And let me tell you something. No matter what happens, it's the best turkey you've ever had.
Good job. Thank you very much.
I cannot overemphasize the importance in your marriage of that turkey being the best turkey that's ever hit your mouth. Doesn't matter what actually happens. Yes, sir.
Between that and yes, dear, he'll have it made. Exactly. What a thrill.
Yeah, but you've got to mix up yes, dear, with some other things that give the illusion of actually listening. And I like the one that's like, wow, I never thought about that before.
Right. never crossed my mind.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
What a thrill to have you. I would like to have you do an "Oh Bother" for us.
Oh, bother.
Thank you.
Do you want to read another one? Go ahead.
Another question from Googlers. What is your favorite restaurant in the Bay Area and why?
In-N-Out Burger. And there doesn't have to be a why. Why? Because I don't have them in Georgia. That's why. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is there more white meat or dark meat on a vegetarian?
This is the best question that I've been asked in a very, very long time because it shows that he's clearly thinking about whether he should bother to cook and eat a vegetarian.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. I suspect that there is more white meat, which would of course be the fast twitch muscles, because they can't really sustain the kind of constant movement that is required to manufacture dark meat because they don't have the energy.
Ah, excellent. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I just want to say, growing up in a house where my mother would scream in fear every time I touched a knife, and that my father didn't like anything that didn't say oink.
He didn't like whatting anything?
He didn't like anything that didn't say oink in its past life.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you for teaching me how to cook. Really, I would covertly go to the Food Network channel and watch Good Eats and be like, oh, that's how you make cookies. Oh, I will go and make cookies.
That's all part of the master plan, by the way.
And,
Pretty soon.
And yeah, thanks to your packet episode with the little foil packets.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Pouches, the pouch.
I fed myself through college. Thank you.
Excellent. And you look perfectly healthy.
Thank you. Wonderful.
You're not a vegetarian, are you?
Don't tell my mom.
Your dad doesn't want to eat anything without an oink, so we like him.
Thank
That's
you.
good. You're very welcome. Yes, sir, please.
How's your pilot's license going? And are we going to see feasting on air or something equivalent to that?
You probably will see feasting on air. I've had my private for about 2 years. I'm finishing up my instrument ticket right now, so yeah. I'm actually thinking about buying an old bombed out DC-3 and converting it to an old-time airliner with dinner service. But I have to make a show about it, so yes, sir.
First off, I'd like to just say...
I love this. You've got a phone in one hand, a coffee cup in the other, a backpack, and a Google shirt.
Yep, there you go.
It's your poster boy. Behold.
Just want to say, first off, me and my friends love your show. Plenty of late nights watching it and, pointing and laughing at you occasionally. But a question for you is, what is your worst cooking blunder that you've ever had?
Cooking blunder.
I don't know, personal injury, that kind of thing, whatever.
I had one that I have one from recent history that was really humiliating. Does that suffice?
That sounds fine.
Yeah, it was. No, I mean, first off, I tend to cook really simply at home, but it was a couple of years ago at a Christmas Eve meal that we have every year with friends. No, it was actually Christmas dinner. Christmas night, I had about 8 people over, and I'd made these, I made standing rib roast and Yorkshire pudding, which is, really not a pudding at all, because, the English will call anything pudding that doesn't drip oil. It's like this little custardy, cupcakey kind of muffin thing, and I screwed the pooch on about 6 different levels on these things. I mean, they were really bad, like these little hucky pucks. But I covered them up with all this other stuff, and I served them. The meal's going fine. And my daughter, who at the time was 7, halfway through the meal, things are kind of real quiet. She sticks her fork down into this whole Yorkshire pudding, and she hoists it up like this, and she puts her little elbow on the table like this, and says, "So, Dad, what happened here?" And that's the reaction she wanted, and she got it from everybody there, too. She's been playing me like a chump ever since. So that was pretty bad. Nothing that ever blew up or was poison or anything.
Except for the turkey on your show, but that's, the show.
That's another thing.
All right, cool.
I did blow up a turkey once, yeah.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, Alton. Thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
So, if there's one food you couldn't live without, what would it be?
One food I couldn't live without.
One food you couldn't go without for the rest of your life from this point forward. What would that be?
Well, this is a year where I've learned to live without a lot of different foods. I've lost 50 pounds this year, and I've learned to live without dessert and sweets. I would have told you that I probably couldn't do that. I've learned to live without much alcohol. I couldn't live without steak. Even cut from a vegetarian. Well, cows are vegetarian, so, yeah. Steak would be, yeah. I'm not sure I'd want to live without steak.
And so the follow-up to that would be then, when you're asked what temperature would you like the steak cooked at,
Yes, please.
Yes.
I'm a rare to medium rare guy. Yeah, I like high heat, fast, get it in, get it out. And it better still be a little chilly, right dead center, so that I can get it in my teeth and go, which to me is the fun part about eating.
Hi.
Hi.
So I teach a class once a week to middle schoolers on the chemistry of cooking.
You teach middle schoolers?
Yeah, once a week.
You don't have a Twitch or anything?
So I showed them the wonders of eggs, and we've made rock candy, and we even made root beer, and I just can't convince them that there's actually science in food. And I was wondering if you had any tips.
Can't.
Well, I show them the eggs, and I show them all the things they're doing, and I ask them where the science is, and they're like, it's eggs.
They don't get it.
They don't get it.
Morons. Boy, moron is someone with a mental capacity of a 12-year-old or less, so they are actually morons, aren't they? I mean, by definition, by strict definition. So you want something that absolutely positively shows them that there's science in food.
Mm-hmm.
Have you made cotton candy from scratch yet?
Mm-mm.
Well, have you made marshmallows from scratch yet?
No.
So you've really been kind of lazy as a teacher. Have you dumped graham crackers in liquid nitrogen and had people chew them and shoot steam out of their mouths 3 feet?
We try to keep liquid nitrogen away from the middle schoolers.
Because the liquid nitrogen will do it. That convinces them every single time. I would make cotton candy. I would make cotton candy from scratch, which isn't hard, and I would make some marshmallows. Because that's really good science. And then I'd probably blow up some eggs in a microwave, because that's fun. But you're really, in the end, going to have to break down and get that liquid nitrogen, I think. That's what I would recommend. They'll come a-running. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. Brown.
Hi.
I have a question for my 8-year-old
Your 8-year-old?
who watches the show with us. When will the squid from Squid Vicious be making a reappearance?
Well, we've done 2 squid shows. We did Squid Pro Quo, and then we did, I can't remember what the other one was called. Just look on YouTube. Good Eat Squid. It's there. Because we did one that was all about calamari, kind of on a ship that rocked all the time and had a giant squid that attacked us. Huge production values. So we've got 2 squid shows. I don't know if we'll do a 3rd squid show.
He just wants to see the prop again.
Oh, he just wants to see the giant prop. Yes. Well, our behind-the-scenes show, Behind the Eats, which is a 1-hour special that replays every now and then, the giant squid arm plays in that. So the giant squid arm's been in 3. And point out to him, pause it, and point out to him that the whole end of the squid arm is actually constructed from bathroom mats.
Oh.
With the suction cups, the ones that go in the tub?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Thank you so much.
Sure. You're welcome. I like your kid, by the way. Yes, sir.
To me, it seems like you do a lot of the science of cooking, like traditional techniques and stuff, but you don't do the science as cooking, MG, sous vide, anything like that. I was just always wondering, why you don't go that way.
Why I don't do more molecular gastronomy on the show? Because people can't go down to the food mart and get, calcium alginate. Or methyl cellulose. Well, actually they can, but it's called Metamucil, and and there's still, the truth is although it's a great method, sous vide does require machinery that most people don't have, and it also requires know-how to make it safe. So, we always pride ourselves on the fact that Good Eats is about food that everybody can get everywhere. And in fact, we used to, and still do on some accounts, just call up grocery stores around the country and say, hey, do you have blah, 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 to make sure that we're not kind of going over the edge into the specialty direction. And the other part is that we try to make the shows about things that we know people actually want to eat. Nobody wakes up in the middle of the night and says, wow, I wish I had some sous vide methyl cellulose, scallop caviar. People just don't do it. What they want is pizza. Or some hot chocolate or something. So until that really becomes something that's useful for people, I'm not going to bother them with it. I enjoy talking about it on Iron Chef America, and it's got a definite place, but right now, home ain't it.
Thank you.
There you go. Yes, sir.
Hi, I've got a 2-part question. First being...
We'll see how you do on part 1.
Sounds good. It seems like you and America's Test Kitchen both take a semi-scientific approach.
Yes, but I'm a lot cooler and a lot funnier.
wanted to get your comparison.
Handsome.
Second, have you seen their turkey show? And
I haven't seen their turkey show.
They use ice to cool down the breast.
Yes.
You have a aluminum foil dome, I believe?
Yes. That was 10 years ago. I don't really bother with that anymore. I fry all my turkeys now. I fry them. I got the turkey derrick. Those turkeys are done in 45 minutes. We're eating, and the hot oil that's left over, I cook up a bunch of sweet potato French fries. I don't mess with the oven anymore. That's so 1999. And by the way, I don't watch other cooking shows because I'm scared that I'm either going to see something that I end up wanting to steal, or I'm going to see something that somehow makes me do what I do differently. So I don't watch them because I'm scared of them. Besides, I might be really good and I'd get depressed. So I don't do that. But I have seen one, America's Test Kitchen, and I love Cook's Illustrated magazine. Although I'm kind of tired of them saying the ultimate something. This is the ultimate brownie. I'm like, well, how about I make it and I'll decide. You know, never on Good Eats will we call anything the ultimate or the best. How are we to say? You know, we're not. So
thank you.
That's it. Was that part 1 and part 2?
Yeah, just how the
wow, it was so seamless. It was a nice segue. You should consider a guest shot. All right, you got another one?
No, these are fun. Let's go and roll with that.
I'm torn because I had 2 questions that my wife will kill me if I don't ask both of them.
Well, I don't want you dead or your wife in prison.
So I've done a bunch of cooking, and this is like an equipment geek question.
Okay.
I was wondering your opinion. Is it true that sharp knives are safer than dull knives?
Yes. Sharp knives are absolutely safer than dull knives.
Because I cut myself with sharp knives a lot.
Well, I didn't say you couldn't cut yourself with one. Because dull knives require force. And force when it releases, and it does. You live in a place that's very close to a thing called a fault line. You guys know about that? And when the force builds up and then it releases all at once, terrible things happen. Certainly can if you're a bridge. Same thing happens when cutlery goes out of control. Dull knives require force. Force goes out of control, and the wounds that it causes tend to be ragged, jagged, and difficult to sew back together.
But I find that I cut myself a lot more often when I just like brush against a knife or something, which never happens with a.
That's called being clumsy. I mean, yeah, it's like you got to think of all knives as lightsabers. I mean, nobody in Star Wars just, oh, you know. And I suggest that when you handle it, when the knife is out, you add a sound effect. So that you're aware that the edge is ever present. The reason that people tend to get cut in kitchens with sharp knives more often is when they don't have cutting boards of the proper size and dimension. It's like when I come up to the cutting board and I make sure that my cutting board, when I put my knife down corner to corner, I make sure that there's at least 2 inches still to go on the board. That's how you know it's big enough. And I don't let the knife go anywhere else. You know, you don't, yeah, go over there in the pantry and get, you know, it stays down, you know. Boom. And you shouldn't have too many knives, and you should consider them all killers because they're sharp.
So my other question, are you going to talk about how you lost weight at some point or do a show? And did you follow this?
You have to be really careful when you talk about losing weight or doing shows about losing weight because all of a sudden 3 months later you could go
right.
You know, and then you're like riding around on a lark, you know. So once I am doing a Good Eats, because a lot of people have asked for this, and we're getting ready to do a Good Eats episode that features some of the foods that I relied on just for me to get 50 pounds off in 7 months. Things like eating cardboard and drinking glasses of air. No, okay. But I won't do anything real serious about it until I've managed to keep it off for a year.
Were you a low-carb fan, or did you follow any of these?
I gave up. Number one, I gave up the things that were really bad habits for me, which is I ate a lot of sweets. A lot of sweets. I mean, I was like a hobbit. I had first dessert, second dessert. And then very often, right before bed, I had breakfast. Which could be a donut. And so there was a lot of, yes, if desserts are carbs, and most of them are, yeah.
Thanks.
I got rid of a lot of those. Yes?
7 years ago, I was told of an urban legend where you tried to make milk without using cow's milk. Is that true?
No. My wife is here.
Oh, then forget I asked the question then.
I didn't make milk. I made cheese.
Okay.
I made butter. You see, when you first have a kid,
Sorry.
yes, ma'am.
Hi, Alton.
Hey.
I'm a big fan,
Thank you.
and I don't stuff my turkeys anymore because
You don't
of
stuff your turkeys anymore because stuffing's evil. Yeah.
Thanks. So I just wanted to know how has being a host on Iron Chef influenced your recipes on Good Eats?
Everything that how have they changed food on Good Eats?
Yes.
Gosh, I hadn't thought about that. I don't know. That's a really good question. Is the food that I see on Iron Chef America affected what I make on Good Eats? I don't know. But we get everything done in an hour. And then Jeffrey Steengarten sits in the corner and drools while I don't think so, because I think that yes, it has, and here's why. The ingredients. Because on Iron Chef America, we get so much exposure to ingredients that are just coming into the mainstream. And so things like grains of paradise, you didn't see those in grocery stores 10 years ago. Now people are starting to use them. That was something that I first saw on Iron Chef America. So I wouldn't say that cooking processes have I taken over, but definitely ingredients. You know, we're getting ready to do a show about curries, and I probably wouldn't have done that had I not spent so much time watching and admiring Indian chefs on Iron Chef America. So yeah, it has. Good question. Nobody's ever asked me that before. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, thanks for coming and hanging out with all pinko commies out here in the Bay Area. It's been a lot of fun.
You're not pinko commies yet. As long as you eat turkey, you're okay. It's when you start eating unicorns that there's a problem.
And one of our biggest pinko commies out here is Michael Pollan, who's written a lot of these books in defense of food. And over
Omnivore's Dilemma.
Omnivore's Dilemma. And over the summer, he wrote a piece in the New York Times kind of about cooking shows and America's obsession with watching food.
And about how we just watch them now and don't actually cook.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, because my father is a great cook, and I don't cook myself because I eat his food and I eat at Google. So I just wanted to
Well, if I worked here, I would eat here 3 times a day and probably have Thanksgiving dinner here somehow by saving up my guest passes. I'd figure out a way to make that work. Nobody blames you for that. First off, Pollan, wrong. There's just no way. I think that it sounded like a really good story. And so we went out and found some research that proved exactly what he wanted to. It's kind of like in the book Jurassic Park. There are only 82 velociraptors if you're only looking for 82 velociraptors. There are actually a lot more velociraptors. You know, the truth is I go out and do public events all year long. I talk to real home cooks all year long. I have more exposure to actual real people than he will ever meet in his entire life. And even if half of them were lying to me, I would know that people are cooking like never before. So, to Michael Pollan. However, I will say this. I think that there are a lot of folks that watch. Yeah, don't go away, Mrs. Pollan. Come back a second. A lot of people will watch for a long time before they'll get up and make that move. A lot of people that will say, I am never cooking. I love this because people come to me and say, I don't cook. I'm like, okay. I'm not gonna cook. Okay. But I love your show. Okay. Talk to me in a year, you know? And it's like, I cook now. Okay, it's really fun. You know, sometimes it takes a long time to turn them, but we turn them. We always turn them. All right, just a couple more. Here we go, sir. Go.
Who, in your opinion, is the best Iron Chef?
Like, I'm going to tell you that. Like, so I say one word and get reservations in their restaurant till the end of time and cut off everyone else, despite my face. They're all equally precious, unique snowflakes. They're all culinary geniuses of their time. I love them all equally. I'm not. He's already walking away. All right. Yeah, there aren't chefs. What do you say? You're happy when you get fed. And I don't have a favorite. I would never be that judgmental. Yes, sir.
Hi, how's it going? I just wanted to say, one Watching your show was the reason why I went to Davis and studied food science and technology. It was kind of a huge inspiration for me.
Did you get your money's worth out of your education?
Oh, absolutely. Davis is an amazing school. The
Yeah,
food science
because you
department
could have
is
just
top.
bought the entire box set DVD of Good Eats and saved yourself all that tuition.
That's very true. But I just wanted to know, like, what are your inspirations? And as far as cooking, what is your kind of specialty? What do you feel like you really have your strengths in? As far as like types, like for example, Mario Batali, Italy kind of is his thing.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I guess.
So do you feel like there's a region that you really are?
Morimoto, fish. Yeah. Fish. You ever notice, however, when Morimoto's there, fish? How does he work that? Just someone asked me once, who would you throw down with if you could throw down an Iron Chef? I'm like, Morimoto, but it's got to be Battle Beanie Weenie, because I would take him down. But no. Fish. I'm sorry, what was your question again? Oh, what am I good at? What do I have specialty?
Well, and also your inspirations, like who really got you into cooking and what really got you on this path?
Julia Child. I mean, when I was a kid, I had two heroes, Jacques Cousteau and Julia Child. And Batman, who didn't eat that well. And I'll tell you what, when I was still back in my earlier life, when I was directing TV commercials, I watched a lot of The Frugal Gourmet. And Jeff Smith and his early, I don't care what happened later on, he was a great teacher. And so they inspired me a lot to get in the kitchen. And I still have their books and still cook from those books. As for modern inspirations, I mean, everybody that sets foot in a kitchen stadium on Iron Chef America is an inspiration, literally, because I learned so much from that. That's my continuing education, my master's, so to speak, except I get paid to be there. As for my specialty, I'm looking at my wife. Meat. I'm a pretty good meat person. I cook some mean meat. I would say that if there was going to be an Alton Brown restaurant, we would just serve meat. Meat, it'd be like steak with a side of fried chicken, and steak tartare for dessert, and we'd make napkins out of like prosciutto, real thin cut. Yeah. I'm a meat guy. I'm a meat cutter and cook. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. All right, we have two more questions, then we'll be done.
In one of my favorite episodes of Good Eats, you dressed up like Colonel Sanders and explained in a very heavy Southern drawl how to make a mint julep. So would
you've been paying closer attention than I ever gave you credit for. Colonel Sanders is a registered trademark of PepsiCo, so I don't know anything about that. But I will say that, yes, he made a mint julep, and he also made a pineapple upside-down cornmeal cake. And he is about to have, we're getting ready to do a chicken and dumpling episode where he is going to make the southern chicken and dumplings, and his northern Yankee cousin is going to make the northern version of that. So if you're a fan here, you just keep watching. You're going to like what you see.
We look forward to seeing him again.
Sorry? Oh, he's coming.
Good.
And hell's coming with him! Sorry. The war, it's still so fresh. So watch for that. I don't have his northern cousin worked out yet. I'm watching a lot of like Newhart reruns to try to get that whole Pepperidge Farm thing going down, but it's kind of tough. So thank you. Great. All right, you, madam, are the last question of the day, and then you people have to go back to work.
What a very great honor.
Oh, well.
So each one of us is allowed, I believe, to have a guest for a meal at Google 2 times per month. I've never pitched a project to Marissa before, but I would now like to suggest a new 20% project. Since I don't want Alton basically to leave, I'm having so much fun. We should all keep Alton here as our guests for meals 3 times a day as he...
So that's the slavery they were telling me about. Have this Kool-Aid.
And I want to personally invite you as my guest to a Pure Ingredient Cafe for Thanksgiving dinner the day before Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Well, how about just every time I come to this side of the country, I just come here for lunch? Thank you for having me, everybody. Thank you.
And actually, I should say that
what?
That our most popular question was people wanted to know whether or not you'd come here and work as a Google chef. So
you don't
we have
want
a
me
ton
here
of
as a Google
fans
chef.
here.
I'd be like, no, something for you. I would definitely term soup Nazi if I was here, and it would be like chili all day, every day, and you wouldn't like it. You're much better off with these guys. So thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate it very much. Thanks. You're a good sport.
And,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I should say,
Go away. Go to work.
the event actually continues. Alton will be over here signing books on the riser. So yes. Over to it.